Hello everyone, welcome back. It's episode number 106 of Spectator Sports. We're here to recap the remaining action across the Paris Olympics and also get into a little bit of news from the Philadelphia Eagles regarding Jalen and Nick Sirianni. Before we get into it, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you're new to Spectator Sports, please help us grow, reach a broader audience. You know what to do. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want clips from this episode, we have it here on YouTube. We have it in our various playlists. You can get them also on TikTok as well. And if you want the audio experience, we got that too. Link for Spotify is in the description, as well as the other links for the channel and TikTok. So let's get into breaking down today's episode. The knockout stages for the men's Olympic basketball tournament was very, very interesting. Team USA cruised through Brazil, as many expected, into a repeat semifinal matchup between USA and Serbia, and this is the third time they're playing Serbia in this summer period. At this point, they played them in a warm-up match and then also in their group opener. Both times they won quite comfortably, but remember, the more you play an opponent, the more familiarity you get, the more film you have to break down, and third time might be the charm for Serbia because they got off to a high-flying start. Not only was it Nikola Jokic who was leading the charge, they got notable contributions from Bojan Bogdanovic, the current NBA player for the Atlanta Hawks, and they also had very good three-point shooting from Avramovic, who made quite a few three-pointers from the first quarter onwards. And really the only thing keeping Team USA afloat in this first half, especially the first quarter, was Steph Curry. After being relatively quiet in group play, even in the warm-up matches and even against Brazil, he caught fire. He had 17 first quarter points, made a bunch of three-pointers, and this was finally where Steph saved his best for last. This only kept the USA afloat because, like I said, Bogdanovic did his thing. He was doing the mellow three-point celebration, making eye contact, and I love the aggression. I love the confidence. Even Melo didn't take offense to it in sitting courtside in the crowd. I thought that it was really good gamesmanship. It's nice to see that while Europeans have been deemed soft by many casual fans, you know, in the American light, they're not that at all. I think they bring a lot of gamesmanship. They're tough, they're feisty, and it's only a matter of time until somebody catches Team USA slipping in the Olympics and deprives them of a gold medal. And Serbia very well could have done that in the semifinal matchup, because in the third quarter, while they were holding up a double-digit lead that into halftime, that lead shriveled just to 5 points midway through the third quarter thanks to Joel Embiid's excellent play. He picked up his play. He went at Nikola Jokic numerous occasions, even drawing a couple fouls cheaply on Nikola Jokic, and that restricted his aggression going forward. And I think that was probably Embiid's best slated minutes in this Olympic play. He's been very on and off, but I thought he was pretty good in this particular matchup. Leading up to it though, they had some bad breaks go their way yet again. Just the three-point shooting kept coming at Team USA, and they were trailing by 15 with about a few seconds left in the third. They cut it down to 13, but they had their work cut out for them. You didn't see a lot from Kevin Durant. LeBron was okay, but definitely wasn't up to his superior, amazing play so far in this Olympic tournament. This is when Serbia sort of came unraveled. I think they missed some really good opportunities, not only from deep, but from close range. Some turnovers led to the Team USA's ability to get on the break for not only transition threes, but for very good looks at the rim. LeBron got to the cup in the fourth quarter. And while Kevin Durant didn't do that great, he scored a bunch of points. And eventually you saw that it was the mainstays of the 2010s, the best players from the 2010s decades, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, combining to lead the charts. They probably scored the final few points of Team USA's total in this semifinal matchup, and they were able to rally. They held off the Serbian comeback because they seized control, and Team USA is headed to the gold medal match. Very tough fight from Serbia. I thought that this was very well worthy of a gold medal match. It's just tough to see Serbia be slated into this in a semifinal matchup, so they had no choice but to go for bronze. But they handled their business in the bronze medal match, despite what we'll talk about a little bit later. They did what they needed to do. They got on that medal stand yet again, their first medal in Olympic play since 2016, the Rio Olympics. On the other side of the bracket, I was very back and forth between Canada and France. It turns out that France, my original pick to go to the gold medal match, ended up upsetting Team Canada, and that was again due to them dropping that game against Germany and setting up this kind of bronze medal semifinal-like matchup in the quarterfinal stages. Some team was going to be guaranteed not to finish with the medal, and it sucks. The Team Canada just couldn't get going early. I think some of these nerves kind of caught up to them. Their lack of bigs definitely came to bite them in the ass. They have a lot of great guards, a lot of good forwards, but outside of Kelly Olynyk and Trey Lyles, they don't have a legitimate big man to help them out on that front line, with guys like Rudy Gobert, Wembanyama, and Yabusele, who's been kind of the star of this French national team as well. But despite Wemby not having a great game, it was Yabusele, and they got great contributions from Evan Fournier yet again. And we'll get into what happened with Rudy Gobert a little bit later, but he didn't really play too well, and that was on the heels of their poor group play matchup against Germany, where he was basically played off the court and he wasn't really seen in the lineup in the knockout stages. In the semifinal matchup, we got to see France take on Germany, a rematch in group play, and this time they got off to a slow start. Germany was ahead thanks to Dennis Schroeder, but then they cooled off in the second quarter. They trimmed the deficit. Wembanyama was phenomenal, leading the way in the comeback, and then they seized control in the third quarter and held off the Germans in the fourth to get back to the gold medal match, the first time since the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. USA was well ahead through much of this game. Now, they didn't have total control in this gold medal matchup, but I thought they were in arm's length distance away from France. Wembanyama was good in spurts, but it really wasn't a consistent camaraderie of guys banding together to try and take down Team USA. Again, you got a nice performance from Yabusele, and at spurts, somebody else was chipping in. But yet again, the difference is that USA has so many superstars, but also they have superior guard play, and you saw that on the perimeter. So many three-pointers. The three-point difference was huge in favor of Team USA in this gold medal matchup. And despite some last-minute surges to make this a real game, it was time for Steph Curry to take over. In the fourth quarter, we saw him make 4 consecutive three-point shots, where all 4 were daggers in different moments of the game. Every time you thought, is this the run that France makes to steal a gold medal? There was a one point where it was either 4 or 5 points, and Steph's three-pointer took it up to 8, if not 9 points. And the last one in particular, it was a give and go, top of the key. He didn't really have a lot to do, and he just took a step back. 2 guys in his face. It was Nick Batum and I think Evan Fournier in pursuit, and just nothing but net. It was a rainbow shot, probably the best shot in his international career, and then he went, Nuit, night, night. and Team USA wins their 5th consecutive gold medal. LeBron James ends up with his 3rd gold medal, and he won Olympics MVP. Very well deserving. Even though his play maybe dipped off in the last couple of matches, it was pretty clear that he's been Team USA's best player. He set the tone. He's been the most consistent all-round performance. He had a triple-double in the semifinal matchup, and that's him on a off night, I think. So he was just been really good in this run, leading the way, and probably will be his final Olympics. Kevin Durant in this run made the record for all-time leading U.S. points leader in Olympic play, and Steph, this is his first ever gold medal, and this was really the last piece in his very large trophy case that he was missing to be a top 10 player in many people's eyes, and obviously an all-time great. But he's up there with the very few that have not only just a gold medal, but an MVP, a finals MVP, multiple championships, multiple MVPs. That's a very small list of NBA players. You know, it was just very poetic to see. Like I said, it was just those 3 players powering Team USA, KD, Braun, Steph, to the finish line. This team was led by these veterans, and we're waiting to see who's going to take their place. But this was like the perfect goodbye, because we're going to have a day where not only we're going to remember, they're going to tell stories about this, but they won't be on the court for too much longer. Everyone knows Father Time is undefeated, and it's very well that this could be the last Olympics for many of these players. Kevin Durant might end up playing in the LA Olympics, we'll see, but I think it's very poetic nonetheless. Hero for this team has to be Devin Booker. Booker has come into this Paris Olympics with a lot of questions. We didn't know whether he really deserved the starting shooting guard spot. A lot of people wanted to give it to Anthony Edwards just because he looks so explosive, but he did a lot of things to keep Ant on the bench. He was a very reliable scorer. He was their best 3-point shooter, at least percentage-wise, and he was a steady scorer, 11 to 15 points, which is a lot in FIBA play. Remember, they only play 40 total minutes. Just so many players are just trying to get onto the court, and we saw that his play at the starting shooting guard spot was vital to Team USA. He did the dirty work. He rebounded when necessary. He made the extra passes. He set up other guys. He also competed on the defensive end so well. I saw him guard guys on a consistent basis, from a full court press to the other side, guarding his basket very well. He got after it for blocks, steals, whatever he needed. He got down on the floor, and this is just something we haven't seen from Devin Booker in the NBA in quite some time, but that was stellar work, and it should go very well noticed in the spotlight, because it's probably going to get shuffled amongst so many great players on this American team. So something we need to talk about is the alarming trends we're seeing with Rudy Gobert. Now, he is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, don't get me wrong. He is one of the best ever, but he's benefited from great team defense we saw this year in Minnesota, because what happens is when he is tasked to guard guys on the perimeter, it is a wrap. Luka Doncic had him on a string throughout the Western Conference Finals. He made him dance like a little puppet on a string and made 3-pointers in his face. He just did not know where Luka Doncic was with the ball. You saw that again in group play. It was a very evident sign when Germany went small, like with Franz Wagner, for example, who's a little bit of a smaller power forward, but still a guy that can take you off the dribble. And when Rudy Gobert doesn't have the benefit of being a weak side shot blocker, because let's face it, Wemby is the weak side shot blocker for France. So where does that put Rudy Gobert? And that's where he eventually was benched for Yabusele, and the minutes just continued to diminish in so many times that he played maybe 5-10 minutes when he was a starter for this French team, a very integral part, especially in their last Olympic run to the silver medal. So that's a concern. I mean, we've seen it in the NBA when he was with the Utah Jazz. He had issues guarding Clippers players in that 2021 conference semifinals game, and we've seen it a lot, and it's just a very, very troubling sign, because while he has a lot of defensive hardware, he's going to have a lot of act. It is very clear that he's good at one particular thing, that is protecting the rim, being a shot blocker. He's a good rebounder too. But doesn't give you much offensively, let's face it. And I think his days are going to be numbered, because when he is exposed on the perimeter like this, there are a lot of guys who don't look well on the perimeter, but they don't look lost. And I've seen Rudy Gobert look lost to the point where he is completely unplayable. We had an article drop earlier this week from ESPN detailing the strained, fractured relationship between head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni, and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Many saw that collapse from 2023, where they started off 10-1, potentially shaking off that Super Bowl hangover, and then they faced a gauntlet schedule, injuries, bad offensive play calling, defense falling apart, and they collapse from 10-1 to 11-6, get routed by Tampa Bay in the wild card round 32-9, and their season's done. Now, many people have seen on the sideline antics between not only AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, but you're seeing it with the offense being totally eviscerated. It's Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. You're seeing a lot of not only just enthusiasm, but also just banter. There is sometimes some animosity. You're seeing a lot of tension too. There was an anonymous source saying that felt like someone's dog died. They weren't having fun like they were in 2022, where it was fun, games, smiles on the way to getting the 1 seed and winning in the NFC, just coming so close to a Super Bowl championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. But that all was gone, and that was partially due to 2 coordinators leaving. That's just part of success. And you brought in Brian Johnson, who has a relationship with Jalen Hurts, but didn't seem to click fully. You saw Jalen just didn't really seem to be part of that offense or fully embrace Brian Johnson. There were some times that I saw, and team sources confirmed, that Jalen just went off script and went rogue. There were times that Nick Sirianni overruled Brian Johnson to make a play called to his liking. And that's where eventually Brian Johnson was the scapegoat. And then we brought in Kellen Moore to put in his own offensive spin, also install Saquon Barkley to the mix, who is going to be an integral part to this Eagles offense. But it's going to be a new spin where now Nick's offense is there, but it's mostly Kellen Morris, and Nick is now a very large scale project manager of this team. And Jalen Hurts is going to be learning a whole lot of new lingo, offensive play calling, new play concepts, signals. Everything is under a new system. And yet again, it's going to come down to these men coming together. Howie Roseman's done a great job in, again, retooling a very good roster, making it one of the best in the NFC. The division is completely wide open. It's very clear, with Dallas not making many moves. The NFC East is right there for the taking, and then it's really just them and the other NFC contenders to get back to the Super Bowl. They have all the tools. It's just a matter of many men putting their egos aside for the better cause of this team. The Eagles can absolutely take flight if they just seize this opportunity, put aside everything, come together towards one ultimate goal, and they can do that. So that's it for this episode of Spectator Sports. Remember, to help this channel grow, you gotta like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want clips from this episode, we got that here on YouTube. We have additional clips on TikTok as well. Please do us a massive favor. If you are on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us on that platform as well. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.